Mastering techniques for voice projection, clarity, intonation, and modulation. Effective communication in broadcasting, public speaking, teaching, acting, and other performance-related fields depends not only on what is said, but how the voice is used to deliver the message. A speaker may have strong content, but without proper vocal technique, the message may be unclear, may be boring or ineffective. And for this reason, 4 major vocal delivery skills are essential. Number 1 is vocal projection, clarity, which is number 2. Number 3, intonation, and 4, modulation. These skills determine how powerful, understandable, expressive, and engaging a speaker sounds. The first, which is vocal projection. The vocal projection refers to the ability to produce a stronger, clear, and audible voice that reaches the audience effectively without strain or shouting. It is a controlled use of breath and voice energy to ensure that speech carries across space and remains consistent in strength. Projection begins with breath support, which is controlled by the diaphragm. So when the speaker breathes deeply and uses proper breath control, the voice becomes steady and strong. But you see, with weak breathing, on the other hand, it leads to a shaky or tired voice. So projection is also supported by resonance, which is how the voice vibrates in the chest, throat, and head cavities. So proper resonance gives the voice fullness, it gives it depth and power. Another important element is articulation, which ensures that words are fully pronounced and not swallowed unclear. So in broadcasting, vocal projection is very, very important because presenters must maintain a strong voice over long periods. For example, a radio host speaking for several hours must maintain consistent vocal strength without sounding tired. Similarly, an actor on stage must project their voice so even those at the back of the hall can hear them clearly. The next we'll be looking at based on clarity is going to be clarity. And clarity in speech refers to how easily an audience can understand what is being said. So a clear speaker pronounces words properly, speaks at an appropriate speed, and ensures that messages are not distorted or confusing. So clarity is one of the most important aspects of communication because even strong ideas lose meaning if they are not clearly expressed. So clarity is achieved through several techniques. First is proper, and to achieve this, the first thing we need to look at is proper articulation, which involves training the mouth, the tongue, lips, and jaws to produce accurate sounds. So regular practice using tongue twisters and reading aloud. It helps improve these skills. Second is controlled speaking speed. Speaking too fast often leads to misleading words or unclear pronunciation, while moderate speed allows listeners to process information properly. Third is correct pronunciation, which requires attention to difficult or unfamiliar words before speaking. For example, a news anchor must speak clearly so that viewers understand each detail of a report. So a teacher must also do the same because they need to ensure clarity so that students can follow explanations without confusion. So in both cases, clarity improves understanding and reduces miscommunication. The next, which is intonation. Intonation refers to the variation in speech. So the rise and fall of the voice, which is what we call intonation, during speech. It adds meaning, emotion, and expression to spoken communication. So without intonation, speech becomes flat. It becomes robotic and uninteresting. So intonation helps listeners understand not only what is being said, but also how it should be interpreted. For example, rising intonation is often used for questions, while falling intonation is used for statement or conclusion. So beyond grammar, Intonation also expresses emotions such as excitement, surprise, seriousness, or anger. So effective speakers use pitch variation to avoid monotony and maintain audience interest. They also use stress and emphasis to highlight important words in a sentence. So changing pitch on keywords help guide the listener's attention to the most important parts of a message. For example, the sentence, "I never said that," can have different meaning depending on which word is stressed. If you are stressing the word "I," which is "I never said that," it means someone else did. If you're stressing the word "never," which is "I never said that," that is what denial of saying it. And if you are to stress the word "said," "I never said that," maybe it implies that maybe implied or you wrote it. That is, you didn't say it, but you probably have written it down. This shows how intonation can completely change meaning in communication. The last one, which is modulation. Modulation is the controlled variation of volume, controlled variation of tone, controlled variation of pace and rhythm in speech. It is what makes a speaker sound natural, expressive and engaging rather than repetitive or boring. So a good speaker does not speak in a single tone or speed. Instead, they adjust their voice depending on the message and audience. So one aspect of modulation is volume control, which means adjusting loudness based on context. So a large audience requires stronger volume, while a small room requires softer speech. So another aspect is tone variation, which reflects emotion and attitude. So a speaker may sound serious during a news report, warm during storytelling, or enthusiastic during entertainment content. So modulation also includes pace and rhythm. So speaking quickly may show excitement or urgency, while slower speech may show seriousness or emphasis. So pauses are also very powerful part of modulation because they also allows listeners to reflect, anticipate, or focus on key points. For example, a storyteller may pause before revealing an important event to create suspense. A broadcaster may also slow down even while delivering serious news to ensure understanding and emotional impact. So how do the four techniques work together? These four vocal techniques are interconnected and work as a system in effective communication. Projection ensures the voice is heard. Clarity ensures it is understood. Intonation gives it meaning, and emotion and modulation makes it engaging and dynamic. So a speaker who combines all four becomes more confident, more persuasive, and professional. And their communication is not only informative, but also impactful and memorable. So in conclusion, one could say that mastering vocal projections, clarity, intonation, and modulation is essential for anyone involved in communication and performance. And these techniques transform ordinary speech into effective communication by improving strength, understanding, expression, and audience engagement. So when properly developed through practice and awareness, these skills help speakers communicate confidently in broadcasting studios, in classrooms, stages, and public spaces. So ultimately, they form the foundation of professional voice and successful communication.